if you please introduce yourself.
Okay, so hello, hi to you all. I'm Amirul Arham, living in Paris, not really Paris, it's a bit far from Paris urban, and I'm a filmmaker. Well, I'm origin from Bangladesh, so this is all at this time, and I do make films and write poems. That's all.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Great, and I really appreciate your time and joining with us. Mr. Jean-Marc, please, welcome.
Welcome. Hello, everybody. My name is Jean-Marc Surcin. I'm living in Paris and born in Paris. I'm working for French TV and making documentaries. And I'm pretty close of you, Mostaq, with the Gale adventure, and I am involved with you in the development of this solar implantation in Bangladesh, and we have several projects in India too. And it could be nice that the Indian guy could be here today also, or next time.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Teru, we will invite him in maybe next time. Why
yes.
not? Yeah.
I think it should be nice.
Yes. Yes. We will definitely organize more. We'll invite more people for such a discussion, which really needed by different nations, people, around the world, and our support, our advice, our discussion could be maybe fruitful for them. Okay. So, so first thing I want to give all of you people, the title of this conference call. We are talking about the future human and also future business. How actually Corona crisis is going to reshape our world. You understand that Corona really, all of a sudden came and we are standing still, We don't know what to do, how to handle this issue. All nations, all governments, civil societies, they are really pretty involved, in such a way, because it's spread out very fast, number one. All the countries in the world, in the globe, are affected by this Corona crisis, and that affected our economy, our social life, environment, etc., etc. But environment, I have to tell you that maybe sometime I used to tell people this Corona saved the world. How? Especially environment point of view, because environment right now is a very clean, is a green, because no pollution. You imagine, it's a one flight when remain on the sky, and by 1 hour 80 tons of the carbon emission. So imagine last 2-3 months or 4 months, how millions metric ton carbon emission we could reduce. So environmental point of view, definitely it is a blessings, by the God, Allah, whatever, that we got some, fresh oxygen or fresh air and fresh nature. And I think that planet got another 100 years more age, because the way the global warming and temperature increase and increasing, that really now under control. So anyway, so let's discuss about some of the issue that because people are now locked in Bangladesh. If I just share about Bangladesh status about Corona, we are not that much affected like Europe yet, but maybe we are towards that direction. But until today, if I discuss, then maybe only 25 or 26,000 people they affected as per the government statistics. and our mortality is only 370 people. So this is the situation. And every day, some kind of 3,000 to 4,000 people, they are tested. So in terms of testing, we are very far behind than other countries. But our death toll, our casualties, not that much, because 370 only, and affected is 26,000 people. But what we believe that if this testing facility increase day by day, 5,000, 10,000 maybe, number of affected people will be much higher than what statistics right now we have. So maybe let's start with Africa. I can invite or request Mr. Ben, please brief us about Africa, what is going on there, and how you are dealing with this corona issue, and how government really responding about corona. Is there any kind of updates you can provide us, Mr. Ben?
Okay, thank you very much. The virus has taken Africa unawares. As always, we are not prepared for it, and but the early days yet, because the virus didn't start showing until February in Africa and early March. So we've not see the full impact yet. However, the reality is that the projections, the spread of the virus is way below the projection. And it's been projected that Africa is going to be worse off, but that has not been the case so far. It's only in South Africa, Egypt, and probably Algeria where you have a lot of numbers. But in the other African countries, the numbers are not that big. But there is one phenomenon. As you know, because of poverty, Africans don't rely on Western medicine. So what has happened is that there have been a lot of preventive measures. For instance, most African families before now have always been affected by malaria.
Okay.
Malaria, typhoid, and all that. And so this is already pandemic in Africa, and all our lives we've been treating malaria, typhoid, yellow fever, and all these have similarity with corona. So in some sense, probably the explanation we're having is that probably because we've been treating these ailments and they're common amongst us, the corona doesn't have too much impact because we seem to have some level of immunity. Now, but these are preliminary explanations. We know that, like we said, let's see how the summer goes. Then we'll see whether the numbers will spike up. But for today, it has not. Then the other issue is that there are local herbs that we normally use to address all such ailments. So, for instance, the leaves and herbs that are around, usually when we suffer from fever or malaria or these viruses, we boil them and cover ourselves and breathe them in. So that practice has been on, and we have it as a fact that our relatives who are in Europe who are corona, when we recommended to them this same practice, they got healed, quite a lot of them. So if you add garlic, lemon, all manner of cocktails together, boil them, inhale them when you cover yourself, you actually get relief. So that has been going on. So because of these preventive measures, it's been very difficult to know and explain, why the widespread has been limited. So, but unfortunately, and just like every other thing in Africa, things are not documented. So because they're not documented, again, we don't even know, we cannot say scientifically or in any geometric sense what the impact of the preventive measures are being. But the reality is that, for instance, in Nigeria, the official numbers of testing is less than 10,000 so far, and the deaths are less than 2,000. So, and we know that we have poor health system. That's understood. We're short of PPEs and all that. So meaning that the condition that ought to make this thing very, very widespread exist. Sanitation is very poor. That's common knowledge. You know, in spite of these underlying factors that could have enhanced corona, it is not growing. You know, it's not spreading as it should be. So the point I'm just trying to say is that, well, while we are still afraid of the unknown, as individuals and households, we are using our traditional ways to prevent and mitigate the spread of the virus. And the national results so far have shown that we may have made some success in doing that. We also know that in Senegal, they've also come up with some test kits that are just $1, you know, which most other African countries are trying to see how they can collaborate and because let's face it, if we don't have low-cost techniques, then Africa can't even survive because we're unable to feed ourselves, not talk of going to do anything that is expensive. You know, in fact, the argument today in Nigeria, for instance, is that we should maintain social distancing. We should take other pressure, but we should not shut down the economy because we know that most of our population, they live on a daily wage. You know, every day, millions don't have tangible jobs. So if you lock them home, hunger will kill more people than corona. That's the situation. So really, there is need to, and I'm sure that's the same situation in most other African countries. The reality is that the people that are dying from malaria are way, way, way more than those that are dying from corona. So I think there is a bit of a rethink. There's a bit of a rethink for us to look at national strategies instead of copying from what's happening in Europe and elsewhere. You know, we need to look at our situation, and that is beginning to affect the way policy is going. So what I'm saying is that because we have, like in Nigeria, more than 140 million people who are below poverty level, it is more harmful to keep them at home, you know, because of corona, than allowing them to fend for themselves. Then we can treat any incidents that happen. That argument, that discussion is ongoing and it's taking root. We just have to spread and underlying causes. The other thing that we have seen, experience is that because of the fear of corona, the medical personnel are unable, and because they don't have enough protection in terms of PPEs, they are unwilling to attend to people who have other ailments because it's difficult to know which, since we are not doing testing, it's difficult to even know who is having corona, who is not having corona. So the medical people are therefore avoiding patients. Now, so you can imagine if you have high blood pressure or you have cardiac issue and your doctor refuses to attend to you, what's going to happen is that you're going to have to die. So it's also very difficult for us to really know what's the cause of death, you know, and things like that. That's the situation.
Okay. And you are telling that your testing kit is just only $1? You mentioned.
No, I'm saying that Senegal have developed a testing kit that's $1.
Wow.
Senegal, yeah. And
it's
Madagascar,
very amazing, you know.
And Madagascar have also come up with
okay, so we'll get
a
back
solution that they said is working in Madagascar, and currently Nigeria is also evaluating the efficacy of that solution.
Okay, great. I think this is an amazing information.
Sorry. Benjamin, could you repeat the end of your sentence because the sound was cut?
Okay, what I said is this, that in Senegal, they have a Tesla kit at just $1. That is good because our people can't even afford expensive test kits anyway. Then two, Madagascar have come up with a solution, a drug, or a syrup that's that is believed can prevent and also cure corona, and it's recently been distributed to all African countries. I know it was brought to Nigeria about 3 days ago, and the president took it, and it's currently being evaluated so that they can start using it, and it's also very cheap. So, and then also even in Nigeria, there are local claims by traditional medical people of also having found some cure. But all these are being evaluated. But they're also being used by those who believe in them. They're being used also by those who believe in them. But the authorities are formally evaluating them for formal approval.
Great. It's amazing. It's amazing because nowhere you can find testing kit cost $1, and they have a lot of available herbal and local medicine which can prevent the disease, which is a great news because World Health Organization always telling us that Africa, it will be a devastating condition, this and that. Anyway, do you people any question for Ben? Anything you want to ask or any issue you want to put up, please?
We heard talking about Artemisia for Africa. What could you say about that, just in the 3 keywords about Artemisia? Perhaps it's about what you were mentioning before, like a plant preventing coronavirus, but what's about Artemisia by your side?
What is Artemisia? I don't understand that.
Artemisia, it's Artemisia annua. It's one of these plants that was mentioning by the president of Madagascar, as a part of the solution.
Okay.
And I thought that perhaps you heard talking about that. Because actually,
yes,
currently there are many research which are launched for the time being from Africa on this plant, thanks to the intervention of this president a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I mean.
Okay, now I've not taken personal interest to look at the solution itself, but I just know that in Nigeria and in most African countries, first, they are proud to know that Madagascar have a solution and they are willing to test it out. That's all I can say.
So just for your information, as Mr. Olivier raised this issue, Artemisia, this is actually Artemisia, the dust, the leaves, which you can put in a cup of tea and drink twice or thrice in a day, and that can cure your malaria and such a disease. This, I have the sample.
Okay.
And that is, I collected from Olivier and also from France, So we planted this plant in Bangladesh as well, and it's really growing here. And it's very simple plant. Most of the cases in Africa and Latin America, this plant grows very well. But India also tested, and Bangladesh also we tested. So this is it looks like a tea, just like a dry leaves, which you can use in a cup of tea or coffee. And and strongly, as Olivier said, that Mali, Burkina Faso, Togo, a lot of African countries, they use this plant for curing from the malaria. Am I right, Olivier?
Yes, nothing to add. Yeah.
Okay, anyone please have any question related to Africa, like what amazing information given by Mr. Ben. Really, I'm really very happy.
I want to know if you are locked in massively, or if people can go out in the streets and travel a little bit, or is it strict or not?
Okay. Well, for instance, Nigeria is a federation, So you have so many states. Where I am is River State, Port Harcourt. I came here 8 weeks ago. Unfortunately, the lockdown caught me here. So I'm unable to live here. I can't leave this state, but you can, throughout for about 2 weeks, you couldn't leave your house. Then eventually it was relaxed, but now they've locked down again. So as I talked to you in the last 1 week or so, I'm locked in. I can't go anywhere. However, in some other places, but you can, in some other states, like the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, like in Lagos, you can go to work and move around. So the situation is from state to state. So it's the governors of the state that determine what happened in their own state. So some people are under lockdown, others are not. But one thing that is clear is that there is a restriction on interstate movement. So you cannot move from your state to the next state. You can move within your state, but nationally there's a clampdown on moving from state to state, because it is believed that some states have, the states that are a bit more rural don't seem to have corona, because most of the corona incidents came from abroad in Nigeria. Those who came from Europe, from China to Lagos, Abuja, and it's from the wealthy people that actually had corona in Nigeria. So the issue is that many states are trying to ensure that people don't move around, so that it's only in those urban areas where those affluent people are staying that have a lot of the incidents so far. So because of that, the interstate movement is restricted, so that as a way of curtailing the spread of corona.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ben.
I have one question. It's not only in Nigeria, it's a question of all around Africa. Recently, the World Health Organization, they warned that in Africa, maybe killed 300,000 people, because of corona pandemic, and it could be, 30 million people get in poverty. So, what do you think then about this situation around the world and Africa?
Okay, one thing that Africa is known for is that we don't have data. So, and the World Health Organization doesn't have data. So most of the things they say is speculative. And like I explained earlier, when we go to Europe, for instance, even to date, and we have malaria, they quarantine us. But in Africa, malaria is a normal, you can ask Dr. Mostaq, every day we have malaria, we'll come out of it. So it's not a problem for us.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that, and as you know, if you are used to a disease, you get a bit immune to that disease. So there's no doubt that corona and those viruses are very common in Africa. And we may have been used to some of them without knowing, because we don't test. So because we don't even test, we don't even know what the ailments are. So it's very possible there's some strains of corona in Africa all this while, and we'll be treating them without reference to World Health Organization. So the point I'm making is this: World Health Organization does not understand the intricacies of how we manage things on the continent. So World Health Organization does not have record of how majority of the people who came from Europe, most of the people who came from Europe have corona, that have been cured in their houses using local concussions. The only problem is that because they are not documented or they are not processed, it's difficult to in any way explain it to a third party. But the fact is, the World Organization does not have the know-how to predict accurately for Africa.
I see. Thank you. So, okay, now thank you, Ben. Let's look on a little bit Europe. So I would like to get back to Olivier and Bénédicte. Olivier, my question is that how you want to, illustrate the future of France and Europe in terms of small businesses, because a lot of, small businesses, they really suffer a lot, especially tourism related business and restoration, etc., etc. So how you can see future that all of those business, could be recovered from such a great losses because of Corona?
Yeah, well, it's just personal thought, because we are all facing in the same time, I would say first, perhaps that not for the first time, but especially in this time, I think we are facing three things in the same time. The risk we are consuming right now, for a part, risk of Corona and consequences, the uncertainty in which we move, all of us, and the unknown we are facing for the next future. So this is not a concept anymore. We are living through these three different perspectives or experiences, and this is applying for people as is applying for organizations, I would say, even small ones. Just to come back to your question precisely, I would say that I do think that it's this Corona crisis, in a way, could be a claim for smallest business, I would say, or to give back a chance to small business to exist and to play a big part, as it in France and in Europe. Most of the employment is done by these companies, by the way. We are often talking about the bigger ones, but in fact, the unemployment for 80% of employment is done by the small businesses. I would say that as long as we give them a chance to live and to go through this big crisis, we will have like a renewal of this model. And as far as they are able to play a role, to find a role, to question their purpose, their reason of being, and to offer something which fit with the needs of people. But what do we talk about? Do we talk about a new time, or do we talk about the last one we just had before the crisis? What do we want? I would say that the future will be, for a part, what we want it to be, as far as we are able to question ourselves to what is very important. What do we value most? What do we value most? What is very important for us? And everybody has to answer this question if it's a good one. And every organizations, what's the belief system we have in mind? Does it correspond to the one we are coming from since 30 or 40 last years, or does it shape a new way of seeing things? And how far do we answer to the new needs, I would say, and about which needs do we speak about? Needs, I mean, the Maslow pyramid. If you the needs are the basic one. As long as you don't have something to eat, you cannot any recognition claim or anything else. Once you get it, you have the security. Once you have the security, you want to be recognized and you are part of a group of person. You are aiming for something more, like sense or purpose. So I would say that how far our small companies will re-question themselves deeply, building an offer which fit with the new needs, and the needs which, by the way, and I will end by these words, perhaps it's less consumption. Perhaps it's to consume or to live or to learn to live with less. How can we do best and better and plus with less?
Absolutely. And do you think that is there any impact after this Corona crisis you can experience from the government policymakers, because there should be definitely a economical crisis in terms of unemployment issue, social services issue, and supporting the old people, etc., etc. A lot of consequence we are really waiting for in coming days. It's not yet even started. So do you think that at the policy level, government will be much more friendly for the immigrants, people, or friendly about the climate changes issue, environmental issue, and social other issue?
Well, I do think and believe, perhaps Bénédicte will complete me, but I do believe that governments and people in general have in mind that we went through, or we are going, or we are about to go out the sanitary crisis, and we are entering into the economical one and social one, and the last or the next crisis after economical and social one will be political. So I would say that it's really a mess, because the consequences are coming now. We for at least months, perhaps years, perhaps much more. But I will say that it's not only economical; it's social. And political, and I do believe that the governments try to show his ability or his willingness to help and support the small companies, for instance, but not only the small one, but the bigger ones too. I do hope that it's not communication way of taking care of people, but really through measures. It's not for the time being totally proven. I do think personally that we let some small companies dying right now, and we will take care of the other ones, those who are surviving already. So perhaps it's not so clear, but I do think that nobody wants us to suffer more. Nobody wants the government do its best. Its best, perhaps it's not so much, but it does its best in a new situation. But how can we? A question could be a question, open question, and I don't have the answer. How can we face a new world with the same person? Do we will face the new world politically or economically or socially with the same leaders? Or which kind of leaders do we need for the next time coming now? Perhaps helped by the oldest one, but or consult. But I do think that this is much more. There is something about transformation, and it starts by us. It's not anymore the transformation of others. It's the transformation of ourselves first. Individually and collectively. Sorry, okay. Perhaps I'm a little bit confused, because these are large questions and considerations. But I do think that more than ever we are asked to be part of the solution, even as an individual and collectively. You want to complete?
Yeah, Bénédicte, can you please a little bit elaborate what explained by Olivier? In addition, what do you think this transformation, should it be progressively or user friendly or people's focus, or it should be like a aggressive capitalism again, rushing back to the business and making money, or maybe a little bit CSR, corporate social responsibility, taking care of environment, thinking about people's, what do you think? I mean, what would be our future, which can, make people a little bit aware of our current days, the sufferings and what experience we are actually going through?
Yeah, thank you. So I think it's the opportunity to, in a way, rethink business and reform business, and maybe, I don't know, capitalism. And so we've been investing so much on profit maximization, and for example, during the last financial crisis, the state invested a lot in saving the banks, but it has not invested a lot in saving the hospitals and the health sector. So what's happening in France these last weeks, actually it's the very bad situation of the health sector that has been created for many years now. And so it means we have to reverse the the paradigm and what is most important. What society do we want? So is it a society where business is the purpose and profit is the purpose, or we want a society where business is serving, you know, people's needs? And so I think it's the opportunity to rethink everything, and yeah, and rethink the purpose of business. So so there are two important dimensions that are we need a much more inclusive way to build much more inclusive ways of doing business. So these last decades, big businesses, for example, or the current economic system has increased inequalities, and we know that the current crisis is going to increase even more inequalities in a way that is not sustainable. We've seen, you know, growing social discontent in France with the Yellow Vest movement, with in Chile, in lots of different countries like Lebanon, etc. So we know that these inequalities cannot increase more. We have to, you know, to decrease, to fight these inequalities now and find a much more inclusive global system. So it means that that's about sharing the value more equitably. How do we pay employees? How do we pay suppliers? Okay, we need to satisfy shareholders, but we need to satisfy actually all the different stakeholders, among them the shareholders. So it means, so for example, in France, people who have a very important role, like doctors or nurseries. There, for example, nurseries that are paid with you know, very low wages. So we should rethink the way we share the value. So that's, I think, something that is very important. And then on the more ecological side, as people say, it's the opportunity to rebuild a more ecological system as well, and probably create lots of jobs through I know, restoring houses and renovating houses and making them more you know, energy efficient. So it's the opportunity today to rethink also the way we do business on the environmental perspective. And as lots of people are going to lose their jobs today because of the crisis, I think we need some governmental help, support, and probably Europe has a very big role to play for us. We need a strong Europe to support also this transition to more ecological economy. So I think that we can mention the recent decision of, you know, creating a recovery fund in Europe to support, hopefully, I hope, yeah, to support this Green Deal and this, you know, more ecological business system. So I think, yeah, we need to reform business and really take into account these dimensions, social and environmental dimensions. Otherwise, we'll face much heavier crisis in the next decades, and we don't wish this unsecure world for our children. So we want a much you know, safe and peaceful world for our children. And for this, yes, we need to rethink the way we look at business, I think.
And it starts now.
Okay, thank you. Bénédicte, I'll come back to you again, related to education and our future children future and universities, etc., as you are teaching at one of the best university or business school in France. I'll come back to you. Jean-Marc, can I ask you something, please? That you know, this business with absolute focus of making money, or business with a social objective can, you know, reshape or restructure because of this corona crisis? Because, you know, most of the country, as all of us, we experience that most of the country, even developed country, they really ignore health sector for so many years. And this corona crisis actually shocked them all of a sudden, because none of them were prepared. So health sector was not that much cared by the people or a politician or societies. So it is a great lesson actually during this Corona crisis. Even richer country or poorer country, none of us we prepare for such a pandemic problem. So how you think that our future social services and healthcare system will be restructured on the basis of such a experiences what right now we are gathering? What is your opinion?
I think that finally the crisis is not now. The crisis was before,
Before.
And I think it's, in fact, it's kind of a chance, this pandemic, because it's a verification of all the theories from people who were against, the system of the way the capitalism was driving since 3 decades, and in a lot of countries and in everywhere in the world, people were against, this the way capitalism were going, and how it was cutting social programs, cutting public services, and struggle everywhere. For everything was done only for business, making money.
Making money.
And it was very, very bad, very bad, and a lot of people were against that, but they were not heard. But now, finally, look, but for example, pollution. Pollution in the world. At the beginning of January, the world asked to the Chinese to reduce, for 1 or 2% their pollution, and they said it's impossible. We can't do that. But because of the virus and the pandemic, after 3 months of lockout, they reduced the pollution of 25%. So it was very, very, very possible. 1 or 2%, very possible. So it's just a question of a will, It's just a question of a will. And this situation shows that everything was supposed not being possible is very possible, very, very possible. Another example about money, since decades, everywhere it's told that money, like Emmanuel Macron said in France, there's no magic money, but in fact there is magic money. Money is just magic thing, finally, because nowadays, before for money you have to have gold or salt or shells or something, but now it's just electronic. You say, okay, I just inject billions or trillions like that, just to click on the computer. That's what they did, everywhere in the world, and it's good. So it means that also the way people are receiving money, because we need money just to have exchange and common exchange between people. But finally, you can imagine that we can give universal income from everybody in the world. It's finally very easy just to have to decide to do it and say, okay, everybody is receiving a small amount every month or every week. I don't know. It depends on the countries, and the economy will go very, very well like that. Because most of the people, they don't want to be a billionaire or millionaire. They just want to live and to have enough money just for living. Simple life. And finally, it's good also for the planet. This crisis is good for the planet. For example, in India, Delhi, since 20 years, they didn't see even the sunlight, you know, too much clouds and too much, you know, too much pollution and too much particles in the air. And after 3 weeks, 1 month, they could again see the sky and the sun, and much more than this. Finally, the virus is killing less people than the pollution, you know, and much more in Delhi. I think in India, I think it's 2.5 million people each year, I think, killing by the pollution, you know, on the sanitary problem from breathing
problem. Yeah.
So it's finally, it's not, for me, it's not a crisis, it's a chance. The crisis was before. The crisis is what put us in this situation. You know, this is the result of very bad way of thinking. And I do agree with what you say, Olivier. What said Olivier? It's now the most important question is to change the leaders. You know, it's I think it's Einstein who said the person who made the problem is the wrong guy to solve the problem. You know. And I think it's yes, I think it's very true. It's very true, you know. It's very true. And according, just one thing, according about hospital and social programs, and it's finally it's the same way of thinking, you know. Since 40 years, 30 years. It was always too expensive, you know. Everything was too expensive. So education, health, everything was important for people was always too expensive, you know. But now we see that unless it's not too expensive, but it's absolutely necessary to have good, you know, good education, good formation of, you know, for medicine, for nurse, for everybody, and also for people when you're sick, you need a good hospital, you need a person very well with a good practice and with good equipments
and skill.
Yes, there is a cost. This is a cost. There is a cost of health, for example, but we have to pay it. Finally, we have to pay it all together. You know, it's for us. Finally, when you invest in these sectors, you invest for you and for us. So it's very important. I think it's very important. It's a verification of what capitalism did since 50 years. 50 years. It was a very wrong way. In any way of the in all the spectrum of the spectrum of all human activities, you know, economics, cultural, politics, social, everywhere. It was wrong. So now take this like a chance, you know, and don't try to go back to the past. And one thing also, I think we have to invest on the young people, you know. I think young people are the solution finally, and this is the world they will have. So just we have to hear what they want, in which world they want to live, you know, and let them to be a part of it and imagine it. Much more than us, you know. We can support, but we are not able to imagine it, you know, because the world we imagine came to this crisis, you know.
Yeah, thank you, Jean-Marc. I really agree with you, because, you know, trillions of dollars we invested in technology, you know. Should we need 3 iPhone, 2 phones, etc., but we never that our health sector should be rebuilt and taken care by professional, skilled nurse, doctors, and, you know, proper research, you know, universities must be more focused on
sorry, Mostaq, sorry.
how
And
they
also,
can develop.
sorry, Mostaq. And
Yeah.
also, in the scales of importance of social support to the other, what is important, it's a reversion of the importance of the people. 3 months ago, a banker or a financial person, or was very, very important. They have a huge wages, and they were very important. But finally, you can see that these people are just parasites. No, only parasites. We don't need them to live. We don't need them at all to live. But you need a cooker. You need a nurse. You need somebody who's delivering something. You need somebody to sell in shops and agriculture to produce food. But you don't need bunkers, not at all, not at all. So it's important. I think it's very important to see that there is a reversion of the scales of importance of the people.
Our moderator has left.
Bye-bye. He didn't agree.
The moderator has left.
Yes.
So your turn, Joy.
You're all fine.
I think
you're all fine now.
As he's left. So
Sorry,
take.
Yeah.
Hello, is he here?
You
He
didn't
is
agree
here.
with me, Mostaq, huh?
Came back, huh?
Yeah.
You
This
didn't
is the
agree with
problem
me. You went away, huh?
Technology. Yeah, please, Jean-Marc.
Yes, I said you didn't agree with me, so you went away, huh?
Because we disconnected, because of.
I understand. I understand. It was a joke.
Yeah. Please. Please, can you talk about it, little bit, because I couldn't catch you last 2-3 lines.
Yes, I said I was saying that the scale of importance of people, and the social position and is absolutely reversed now, because before a banker or a financial person, was very important and have a very good income to do his job, and but finally during the crisis, you don't need a banker, you need a nurse, you need agriculture, you need somebody to deliver food, and so the so-called low jobs are finally very, very, very important, and socially very important. So maybe for the after this crisis, maybe we could think about income, how you pay people in regards of how important is their job for the community and the social supply they are giving to the others.
Okay, so what I understood that corona, this corona crisis, I mean, after that maybe it could be a potential from the learnings what we learned, that corona could be like some kind of change maker, and we can maybe more now focus on small business development, healthcare system development, and more focus on skill development, helping the young generation so that they can have a technology skill and better education, so that we can take care of our health system, and new way of capitalism, like not like aggressive capitalism just for making money, but rather also focusing on some social issues and then making money. Am I right? That actually mainly you try to talk about. So anyone has any question to Mr. Olivier or Jean-Marc related what they discussed and explained? Otherwise, I will go back to Mr. Arham and Mr. Joy with my next question. Okay,
Hello.
Mr. Arham, can I
Oh,
get back to you?
yes, sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a bit optimist. I'm a bit optimist according to recently Amartya Sen. He told it that we can make a better society in a
We don't hear you anymore.
Yeah, Mr. Arham, are you?
But Emmanuel Macron, he
Yeah.
gave us another version from his part that it could be, we must think about the things of unthinkable, that he believes that coronavirus pandemic can transform the capitalism, and but leaders need to act with humility. So these are all things that it means that we need to design our world, in a global world. But the thing is that there are possibilities. We have a lot of possibilities, but especially few possibilities. I think it's really necessary that it could be, descent into barbarism, a robust state capitalism. It could be a radical social state, and transformation into society, rebuild, and mutual aid and global, cooperations. But what we really did till today, that we understand that people are very much boast of their capitalism or money, but money doesn't give us all the solutions. We understand that, we realize it. We are fear of our death. Anytime corona can kill us, and we are undone. Nothing have to do. So all the things we are going to planet and other things, we are spending money to build arms and many things, and we are building wall to protect migrants and many things. We are very much selfish, talking about the global economic solutions, and at the same time we are very much concentrated to our interest. So these are things we must learn now, that we need to rebuild our society with help with other. We need that. It's very interesting things that Henry Paulson pronounced it, that we need a globalization, really, to save globalization, to rebuild our world. So with nature, with environmental issues, we a lot of things to do. And I think this is really, we need to think that at least 1 month in a year to be locked down,
Shut down everything.
Yes, 1 month, around the world, we need to be locked down ourselves, just to protect our nature. And according to our employment, that is really employment are, I think we are contaminated by coronavirus employment, Nowadays, even today, in our French television, we have learned that 20 to 30% all the artisanal people will get their job off. It means they have no way to rebuild. Yes. Yeah. So it's very dangerous, because we are production, we need production,
Yeah.
But if there is no production, we can, with the money, we can really, eat money. So this is the things we must think, that we must protect our environment. We must protect our, there, and then we think about how we can use the money. We don't need much money. Coronavirus situation, lockdown, the confinement, really we learn from it that we don't need much hospitals, not much test. We still, the death, the toll of around the world is less than before. Is much more less.
Yeah.
So it means that we can leave what we have, and we can economize our our wealth, our wealth, what we have from natural way. So things is that we must rebuild our situation, but we must understand at the same time that what political leader will determine, because it's a question of that it is all the situation depends on the on the leadership, but we must not think that we re-elect again like Donald Trump. We don't think so, though we must re-elect again Modi. So these are all the dangerous people for our planet. So we must raise our voice against all these political leaders who are really enemy of our society, those who are really enemy of our civilization. So we must ignore it. The people, if we are not conscious to rebuild our society, and we run after the money, it is dangerous for us. So I think this is the situation. We must understand that we have to design our world. And another problem when you're talking about the business is not only the coronavirus and other things is impact. There is another system is a algorithm. There's a robot algorithm system, because they will be much more dangerous probably nowadays after corona, because of social distance and many things, I think people will be much more confident with algorithm, with the system. And as Yuval Noah Harari, he pronounced these things in his last books. And this is really very dangerous thing, that if algorithm take place, a big role instead of man, human, they will lose our job, and people will get much more helpless day by day. So we must think about the people, our nature, and the environmental issue. And of course, we can use algorithm, that robot for the necessary cause, for the health issues, for the, because it's very fantastic, the development, of course. I'm not against of, but I think we must really be conscious, real consciousness to rebuild our society. And we must love each other. We must think to each other to live and to let live others. So if we are, again, self-concentrated, only think about our own interest, that will be again dangerous, and it will be really, will turn into barbarism, because there is a, still what we are. And I think we have to learn real issues, that what coronavirus learned us, this is thing that we must learn from it. So if we don't learn it, it is dangerous. So I think it depends on our consciousness, people's consciousness.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
This is we must develop on it on that point.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Arham. I want to get back to Mr. Joy. Joy Bhai, every year the malaria kill more than corona kill as of today.
Yeah, sure.
You understand? But corona created some kind of panic globally. And do you think that social media played a positive role or negative role? The situation now we are facing, like corona is dangerous or social media is dangerous than corona. How you define as a journalist? Can you please?
I will be very short. I'm sorry, because I will have to leave in very shortly.
Yeah,
but regarding your question, I don't really know what to say about social media. Okay, I think they are leaving. Olivier and Bénédicte, they are leaving. So thank you for.
No, Bénédicte will be us. Bénédicte will be us. Will be with us.
Okay. No, regarding your question, the social media, I think it has not played such a big role. I mean, for this thing. For example, regarding the media itself, what we could see in France, for example, is that, for example, the mainstream media has played a key role. The mainstream, not so only the social media, because the social media, no one knew exactly what was going on with this virus. So you have so much information, contradictory information. Some people are saying this about the chloroquine, their doctor are saying this and that, and there was always a lot of contradiction. And then the social media, it has been confusing, I think, for the people. It was was not really something which we could play. I don't think it played such a big role for this crisis. what has been playing a very big, which is very important, I think, was the lockdown in France. Lockdown was something was very, very strong, I think, for the people, and it was amazing that I think in most of more than 150 countries around the world, there was such a lockdown. For example, in India, where there were more than 1 billion people facing lockdown. That was for me what was the most important thing. And basically the social media regarding the lockdown have played a role. Not so much for, I don't think, for the coronavirus itself, because no one knows about I mean, who is going to speak about the virus? Even the professors and the doctors, there was someone telling this, the other one was telling that. No one knows about that. People were lost with this. But regarding the lockdown itself, then it has been playing a role. Yeah, I can say. I think.
Yeah,
so.
but thank you. But what do you think that this social distancing, isolation, lockdown, it created some kind of like a mental health hazard, physical problem? You know?
Yeah, it will change. I think it will change the way of the sociability of the people. I think so. Yeah, I think so. That for example, this kind of relation through Zoom, Skype, and whatever, it will also the people working in their home. How do you say comment on dit
homework?
People, huh?
Homework.
The people working at home, with the computer. Huh? Yeah. This way of it will change. Huh? Yeah, it will change a little bit, but basically, it will change for that. I think so. Yeah, it will change the way to interact with the people in the net. But for how long? I don't know, because maybe I think I'm not so much optimistic like Arham said a little bit before, because I don't. If we don't have a real offer by some, because he spoke about Trump. Trump is going to come back into power. We don't know.
Yeah.
But Modi is really Modi is very dangerous for all the Indian people. I'm saying about Macron, because if we don't change really, as Jean-Marc said a little bit before, you have made a lot of, I don't know, in Abuja, sorry, not Abuja, in Lagos. I don't know what is the political situation in Lagos now, but if you see in Bolsonaro, in Brazil, in France, France is a little bit different. We are not now, maybe not in a dictatorship, but if we don't have a real offer, an economic offer, a political offer, I don't know what we can will be the next years, because it can be worse. I mean, regarding the economical situation, the social situation, and also the political situation, because it's also a political crisis, I guess. I think so. It has been said already.
Yeah,
but I think that
yes,
Mostaq.
Yes, please.
I think that media played a very negative role in this exercise, because the truth is that it brought fear.
Yeah.
The widespread coverage of Corona by the media created fear and panic in the minds of governments.
Yes.
That is why governments were taking the actions they are taking. You will see that anywhere the lockdown has been lifted, people tend to be less afraid of Corona. So I think Corona is associated with fear. And the media is the one that really established that fear in the minds of the population.
Exactly.
So really, without the media, what's going to happen is that people are going to go about their lives and be a bit more careful, but we have to go about their lives. So I think that the role of the media cannot be ignored, whether social or conventional media. I think they played a massive role, and that role, at the end of the day, wasn't as positive as it should be.
Yeah, actually, I also believe so, because when I, explore the social media, so many confusing information about treatment, about disease, everybody came up like an expert, so, they also confuse the politician and policymaker, government, otherwise, the social distancing, taking care of yourself, be safe, be clean, is the major issue to prevent this disease, what I believe in. So, media created such a panic. So, we isolated from our day-to-day life, work and everything. Please.
I have another question, of course. I do agree partly. I do agree partly because, when Facebook and other social media, Twitter and other things really exist. It exists. It means all the people around the world, they're using this media. So this is, Facebook, it becomes a fake book. So it's really some sort of like that. But at the same time, during this coronavirus period, you must understand that 38 countries have restricted freedom of the press. Why? If Bangladesh, if they don't give us the real news and the fact, so how do you think that we can get the news? So there are 38 countries. It's a Medicine Sans Frontières that calculated this. So this is dangerous things as well. So we have only things that social media. But of course, when social media like you, like others, all people can speak. Everybody can speak like a sport. So it means obviously it is a chaotic situation. But because the professional peoples are not getting the access, if the professional like Jean-Marc or Joy, if they can't say, so who will say in their place? Who will say that in that place? So things is that because real people are not getting access. So it's incredible to think that still, like many things are happening because we are trying to hide up all the situation, like all these countries. But still, I think in Europe is much more open than other countries in Asian countries. Like India, what did in India, Bangladesh, and other things. So from your perspective, you're right, because it could be a little bit burning issue for you, but or other people's from, if you really try to protect your government. But if you think about the general issues, all about the real issue, I think there is exaggeration, of course, but at the same time, otherwise we don't have other thing that we can try to just of course one on 20 or 20 30 it could be things, but of course there are a lot of chaos, but there is a guidance at the same time. World Health Organizations are always trying to guide us, so you must listen to them. This is the things that, and there are a lot of scientific ways nowadays that we have to listen to them. Not the fake news, not like the fake book, which called Facebook.
Facebook, So thank you, Mr. Ram. I have two questions. One question for Jean-Marc. Jean-Marc, can you please explain a little bit this social distancing? Isolation can change our behavior pattern in coming days, get to be normal, and how we can deal with that kind of situation in coming days. When we go back to our work, go back to our institution, etc.
I have to.
Jean-Marc, sorry, Mr. Joy, you are leaving right now.
I have to leave you now.
Yeah. So we want to give you thanks and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't. It was very interesting to me, and I learned a lot. But sorry, it was a little bit confusing. But okay, we'll do a little more the next time. But thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, we will let you go.
À bientôt.
Thank you very much.
Au revoir, les amis. Bye.
Salut.
Bye, Lagos. Huh? I don't know. Are you in Lagos?
No, Port Harcourt. Bye.
Bye.
So Mostaq, I think that as usual, there is two things very linked in this way of living by your own and to be isolated. mostly it depends of the way of life you can preserve. You know, if you are a very poor people, you can't stay safe at home. You know, you have to go out to get a little job, to get the little money, to be able to have just food. You know, just food for you and your family. So it's very different when you are in this kind of situation, and it's I think in Nigeria or in India or in Bangladesh or in most of the South country, it's like this for a lot of people. It's also like this in France, because there is a very poor people also in Europe and France, you know, and States also. But it's very different if you have, you know, enough money and enough habits also to stay at home and not be afraid to stay at home. You know, you are in a position, you are able to think, you know, you are able to settle down and say, okay, finally, what I miss the more usually it's time. You know, we are all running after time, you know, always, and suddenly you have full time just for you, you know, just to think, to read, to have to make love, to, you know, so you have time, and a lot of time all day long, you know. So it's kind of frightening, but it's also a kind of exciting thing, you know. And you can you can do it a lot of things, you know. You can start to, I think that we all start to think about us first, about our life, but also about the world. You know, it's not by hazard that this kind of you know, meeting is arriving now and not 2, 3 or 6 months before, you know, because I think everybody is thinking about how the way we live, and was it good, was it bad, what could we change, what we have to change, because there is must now. We all know, we are all convinced that there is things must change, different things must change, they have to. And I think it's very important, and it's kind of a chance. I said that it's kind of chance, you know, for the world, that this situation happened, because we put we push the button of you know, in French we say mise à l'arrêt, you know, mise à l'arrêt. It's a stop button, you know. We push the stop button, and so we can think of the world, of the what we want for the rest of the time, you know. So it's very important, and in this way, I think one of our chance is that this pandemics is nowadays, and not 10 or 20 years before, you know, or even five years before, because, you know, the internet is very, very, very developed all over the world, almost all over the world. Here again, it depends on the money you can, you know, you can have on the social way of life you have, but with this we are able to communicate by being at the same time locked in the house, you know. So so in this way, social media are very, very, very important, but it's not the mainstream social media like Facebook, or it's the way that now we can communicate, you know, by internet, and as much as we want, you know, and from all the parts of the world to all the other part of the world. So it's very important. After that, I think that according to me, you know, I'm living in for the one of the major French TV station, you know, and I think since maybe 5 or 7 years now that it's these media are already dead, but it's like the stars. They are dead stars. They don't know that they are already dead, but they are dead stars. So they are shining more and more and more and more and more and more and increasing more and more, but they are already dead, and they are replaced by a small stars who are creating, which is this kind of Zoom, for example, which is kind of new things that are skills that people can use, and tools that people can use to communicate, and to communicate the way they want to, not the way imposed to, so it's kind of a new liberty also, on a new way to communicate between people. So I think it's here again, it's this crisis, this virus is helpful finally.
Exactly. How many days, Jean-Marc, you were in locked in? How many days?
But since the 17th of March. So since this date, I went out 4 times,
4 times.
just to buy food 4 times,
4 times.
Just to buy food.
Wow. And Mr. Ben, how many days you were locked in?
Okay, the lock-in is up to 8 weeks now, but there are some days that we are allowed to go and look for food and supplies.
Okay. So almost 2 months you were locked in. What about Mr. Arham? How many days you were locked in? Same.
From 17th March, from 17th March, 15th March, from 15th March.
Okay. And what about Bénédicte? How many days you were in locked-in?
The same.
2 months.
Same. We are in French, the same situation for all of us.
And what about you, Mostaq?
Yeah, I don't want to give you,
what about you? What about you?
Yeah. Let me explain. I don't want to give you or give anybody a wrong message, but what I want to tell you truth. Myself, I was locked in only for 3 days. And 3 days, I was learning how to prevent myself from corona. Social distancing, washing hand, don't go to the crowd, etc., etc. 3 days I learned, and I carefully review all the, articles, what happened in China. So many friends I have in China. I communicated with them, okay, if I have corona, what I should do. And rest of my time, thanks God.
In this way, I am not locked down as well.
No. Thanks God. This corona, this lockdown period, I think most productive and wonderful things done by me.
Yeah.
Because I was very sound and very productive things I did during these 2 months. Unbelievable. When I think about it, really, I can't believe it that it can be done by me. Thanks God. Anyway, but please don't follow me. Don't follow me.
No. Everybody, no. I think we are not saying the same thing. We are locked down as well, but we are much more productive.
I know.
But as you did. So
yes,
you is the same thing that we are locked down. Everybody
inside and outside.
It means outside doesn't mean that how long you are from your office. My office is very near to, I just walking distance.
So you're outside?
In that cases, no, it means, I don't say that it is locked down from me because it's 5 minutes from our house. So I can work. So it's not a question, but things that we are in fact much more productive than before because during we have got it's a leisure time. Yeah. And Barton Russell told once that man is much more creative when a man is in idleness. So in place of idleness, he gave a good lecture in Barton Russell. So I think we are people, we need time. We need really the space. And that's why I propose that it should be 1 month lockdown for all of us. We could be much more productive. and nature can be saved, and we can meet deers and birds and the swans and all the animals, because they came from the jungles, from the forest, and we met them. The sky is very clean, so it's so beautiful. So I think we must think about this. So, and we don't need much food, we don't need much clothes, we don't need much, so, and we can communicate the world because of the technology, because as we did now. So what we are doing now, we can find out the other way. But the thing is that we must design the world in a very positive way. That's I really think. But we don't. But if we don't, we will turn into barbarism again.
Again. And another interesting things what I want to share, and also I think it can be same for you, that during this lockdown period, myself and a lot of people told me the same story. We saved a lot of money. We saved money because we didn't use that much of car. We didn't eat that much. We are very much conservative. So that kind of, I think that right now in Bangladesh and all the Muslim country, we are fasting. So this lockdown was some kind of fasting, and
But when you are fasting, you are eating more than before. That's true.
Okay, so I have a last question, and we'll quickly sum up this meeting.
Ben, are you busy, Ben?
Yeah. Okay, so I have a last question, and then we'll sum up the meeting. It was wonderful talking and discussion. It can continue another hour, but a lot of us, we are very much.
Mostaq, we have to redo it. Maybe once in
exactly.
Like that,
so just one more question, Bénédicte. You know that most of the educational institutions shut down, universities, colleges, schools, and students, they are frustrated. They don't know when they can go back to their college, school, or universities. And they're pretty frustrated because, inside the room, they are blocked. They are not like us, So they have problem of physical, space and the mental space. Two problems. In a one building, 2 children, 3 children, 4 children. We never feel that, but now the way we are feeling, they have lack of physical space and the mental. So how you think that this corona, and that a lot of institutions now providing the online courses, even exams are online. So how you think that it can affect our future in educational institution, and how you people as a topmost business school can deal with such a situation?
First, very practically, obviously, it means that we have to reinvent the way we teach, for example, and with much more hybrid ways of teaching and blended ways of teaching. So using much more Zoom or this kind of tools, and that's for sure. But then more fundamentally, I would say what we need as well for our students is to prepare them to be more resilient in front of all these crises. And for me, being more resilient requires developing self-awareness, being clear with what is the goal of my life. So it's about helping them, being clear with what they want to live, and probably defining more solidarity ways of behaving. So I think so that our society has been too individualistic. You say in English. So I think that at least it's not the role of a business school, but at least what we are doing through the social business chair is about also opening their eyes and helping them develop their consciousness about today's challenges, and the fact that many people on this planet live with very small means, and they're affected by all these crises. So I think it's urgent to open their minds and make them more resilient and also creative in the way that they can invent new businesses that will be more again more responsible, more inclusive. So that's what I could say.
Yeah, and do you have any suggestion or recommendation? Because like for Bangladesh, India will be locked down for another maybe 2-3 weeks. Even we don't know when it would be end up. Any suggestion, any recommendation that how our children or students can, adapt this kind of situation?
Recommendations for
our young children, young
children.
Students, those are now locked in a house, they have no space for themselves to, accommodate with such a situation inside the house. How they can have the quality time while they are in lockdown.
Yeah, there is a risk for many young people, to become kind of geeks, spending too much time on the digital tools or games and things like that. So I think that one recommendation would be to spend more qualitative time as well with your parents and brothers and sisters. And I think it's time to redevelop qualitative relationships. And I think that's what we've been trying to experience these last weeks with our family, with the children that came back from many different places, and we had to live all together again, and we saw that it was like a unique opportunity to make our relationships more stronger in a way. Stronger. So strong relationships among within the family, and also probably with the neighbors and more people around. So I think to be more resilient tomorrow, you cannot be alone. So you need to have solidarity links with the others. Yeah. So I think this time is probably an opportunity to rediscover the importance of relationship, which is at the heart of what makes life so nice and rich. But yes, we all have to spend much time on Zoom, and it's also a very unique opportunity to meet people from many different countries, like we are doing now. But the danger, obviously, for these young people, and we know about lots of young guys, for example, who are spending too much time on video games, on games. So this is not the right solution, probably. Yeah. And also, I think we can take this opportunity to learn a lot, reading. So really rediscovering also the chance to have the time to read books. I think that, it's a chance for that as well. Yeah, reading books, painting, talking to people. Yeah. And like having a more time for introspection and inner life. Mm-hmm. And also more time for qualitative relationship. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Okay, I think we should sum up our meeting. So anybody has anything to either talk about or question or anything, please, we can have.
I think that the situation, coronavirus situation is a wonderful situation at the same time. It's very annoyed, of course. And at the same time, it's a very interesting and positive situation as well. When Bénédicte told about this, the alternative and innovative situation, that we can really use it in many alternative thoughts and many alternative creative ways and innovation way. And at the same time, I think that hopefully we will use this situation to rebuild or to design our society to produce something better and more human. Because I think we must learn that we must live and to live others, and we must really love each other and the nature, and we must be much more conscious about the environmental issues, because without nature, without environment, we can't really live it, and we must use really how we can use the money when talking about business, other things in a very moderate way, in a very positive way, not to, like, few months before that we killed a lot of people in Syria. We killed the people from, many are part of, Yemen and other peoples. There are a lot of people died. 100,000 people died in a few, within 2 years. But now all over the world,
2 months, no more war, no killing.
So we must think that we must not kill them, because who killed us? Who this is our responsibility. So I think we must be much more conscious and very positive, very human. And we really must learn from this situation. We must love each other. We must love myself, to love my family and societies and many peoples, and we share. We must we must understand the sharing. So this should be really learned from the situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any point, Mr. Jean-Marc, please?
I want to speak about two things. First is about giving lessons and education. I have these students in La Sorbonne for journalism purpose. Since 13 years now. And it is a problem because usually I go in a place, they come to this place, and we are all together, and I learning them how to film and how to make a feature program or document, but smaller, for news program. So we are very close, and I thought we need to see each other, and but finally with this Zoom, I have 2, 3, 4 sessions with all of them. There are 20. I have 22. So I cut, the groups in two groups, subgroups, and 16 by 16. We had a Zoom conference, and we spoke about what is journalism finally, and it's a good journalist have to be adaptable of the situation he is facing. Yeah. And so I said, okay, for you, it's kind of of opportunity, to improve your view of the job, Job. So I told them, so you because you are locked in, just do a subject on your locked in situation, and they all made very interesting, very, very interesting with this, because now we have this also. We can film, we can exchange, sounds, and so it's very important, and so I think it's here again. We have a new the old world. The old world is dead now, Yes. And we are jumping. We have to jump in a new world, a new way of living. And for example, academics listens. Maybe it's the past nowadays. Maybe it will not arrive again. I don't know, or not like 2,000 people in the same room and magistral and with a doctor who's speaking about subject. I think it will. Maybe it's gone forever. Maybe it's finished forever. This is my first thing. And the other thing, very important also, is for me, it's the absurdity of the way we are using the goods, and the most important example of this for me is oil, petrol, oil. Okay. I don't know if you heard about that, but 1 month later, the producer of oil, they were giving you money to buy so-called buy their oil, Yeah. If you buy oil, I give you, I think it was $37. It's not for a barrel, it's not nothing. And so it's absolutely crazy, and I don't know the English terms for matière première. How do you say matière première in English? How do you say that? Matière première. you know, like gold, weed, matières premières.
Raw materials.
Raw materials.
Raw materials.
Raw stuff.
Raw materials, that's it? Raw? Okay. So I think that the way we were treating, commercing with the raw material was wrong also. And now we have to think how to use, you know, what's the earth is providing us, you know. And for example, fix forever a price, you know, one I don't know, not making money with this, you know, or just the money you have to make to be able to continue, you know, to do the job, but not it's financialization of the world. It must end, you know.
Okay.
It must end, you know, because we can see that it's not useful, and more than this is a deadful, you know.
Dangerous for the planet, for the pollution,
yes, and for us also, and for society, you know.
Yeah. So thank you, Jean-Marc. So anybody has anything to say, please?
Yeah, Mostaq.
Yeah.
I think that you know, the lockdown really, in a way, it leads to more work. On a serious note,
yeah,
you know, it's difficult to understand it, but if you look back in the last 2 months, we tend to work a bit more. We're even evaluating ourselves a bit more, and there's more introspection, you know, in the last 2 months. In fact, my wife was joking with me that I am getting slimmer during the lockdown because you cease to work all the time these days, you know, work late into the night now. So, and also there seems to be more impact because you tend to look a bit more introspectively to see where you're doing things correctly to improve them. So while I'm not advocating lockdown, but it's very clear that it's going to lead to more productivity, and I think it should be mainstream into policy to see what can happen. Then secondly, as a country in Nigeria, there are some strong lessons that have come from the lockdown. One, you know, Nigeria used to have a lot of medical tourism, external medical tourism. So we don't have the health systems. Now we realize that if we don't develop our health systems or our schools, then there's going to be trouble. So we run into trouble already. So there's a bit of more rethinking for self-reliance. So one thing that lockdown is going to look at is more self-reliance. So you can be sure now we are looking at how to develop more facilities in country than exporting our money. So, you know, and the gentleman was talking about raw materials and all that. So today, without too much conviction, people are going to see how we can use our materials a bit more internally so that we can improve our local productivity, especially in industry and more and in health. Then also science, you know, there's a lot of science around in Nigeria, in Africa, but we really don't do anything with them. But with this lockdown and the situation of the corona, we're compelled to start thinking a bit deeply on how to start taking advantage of whatever research we've done locally and to use them to the benefit of the country and humanity. So I'm thinking that these are some of the things. Eventually, I think this will lead to greater self-reliance and productivity.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just want to tell you and request you through this video conference, please plant trees as much as possible. Plant trees as much as possible. That can save our planet, make our planet nice and with a breathing condition, much more cleaner oxygen. And I'm telling you, I planted already 1,400 Malta trees. So I am urging you and requesting you, please, whenever you have any possibility, plant trees. If you don't have a space in your house here, okay, or back here, or at your house, please assign someone in some other country on behalf of you to plant 1 tree. That can save our planet. And this is our message from myself and from our organization, what we are now dedicating and dedicated for saving our nature, saving the earth. So I'm thanking all of you, and I really appreciate your thoughtful discussion, and we'll come back again with other topics very soon. Okay?
Thank
Au
you.
revoir.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Mostaq. Thank
Yes,
Au
you.
revoir.
thank
Au
you very
revoir.
much. Huh? Be
Au
courage,
revoir.
be courage.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.